What's up, guys? I'm Chelsea Hernandez, music editor at Swagger RS, and you're now tuned into my podcast, Time Out, where I have conversations with music related subjects about their workings in music.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's Chelsea Hernandez, music editor with Swagger RS, and you are tuned into Time Out. Today we have Toronto. Are you native to Toronto? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Toronto native.
Born and raised.
Awesome. Toronto native rapper Wise. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I think you're super talented. How did you when did you really start to connect with music? And did you start off rapping or did you start off producing? Because I know your Instagram name is Wise Beats.
Wise Beats. Yeah, Wise but the beat dumb. Yeah, I've always just had a passion for music, of course. I mean, as a kid, the first instrument I started playing was actually the drums. I got a drum set. Or I guess before that it would have been like piano and whatnot, just like as a kid,
cool.
But
Yeah.
then I started playing the drums. Went on to play like a bunch of other instruments, guitar, and I was in like bands and things like that in high school. And eventually I was just like, I'd always loved rap. Like I'd always only predominantly listened to rap,
Interesting.
Probably due to my cousin who like put me onto a lot of stuff. I mean, I remember getting like 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying for my birthday. Dr. Dre, The Chronic 2001, that came out in 99. So
Oh
I was
my
literally
God.
5 years old and I had that. And like I would, my parents were very supportive and chill with it. And my dad likes rap. So I was just
Is
kind
that
of
what you
always
grew up?
like, it was just always around me, And
Yeah.
then I was like, I was listening to a lot of 666 Mafia and like Project Pat and a lot of the like the southern rap coming out of the States. And I ended up watching a movie. It was Hustle and Flow. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. You seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, like here's this white dude and he's in here and he's making beats. Like maybe that could be me. So I went down to like this music store in Toronto called Long McQuaid. I bought a used MPC 1000. It's like an old drum machine from this company called Akai. And I basically just made everything on this drum machine. It like had samples from whoever had it before. And that's kind of
Oh
how
wow.
I started. That's kind of how I started making beats. Well, my beats weren't really that good and no one wanted the beats. Like I had to just start kind of rapping on them. So, and now it's kind of like it's flipped. I mean, I still produce a lot. I still have like a couple records in the works with some people that, I'm hoping they will drop or if they'll drop, and that's kind of all up in the air. But I, yeah, I was like, if people are listening to the rap I'm putting out, like I might as well just keep putting that out and start working with some other producers also to rap on their stuff. It's only more exposure for me. It's hard when
Yeah.
you're making the beats and rapping on it. It's just a whole other outlet for exposure. Is that producer that's going to share it with his fan base and whatnot. So I won't get too
Yeah.
far ahead of the question, but yeah,
No.
I'll come back to that point later about working with other producers.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's great. So at what point exactly did you decide to let go of the producing and focus more on your rapping?
I mean, I really haven't let go of the producing. I just haven't like I made beats this morning.
Oh,
So like
okay.
I'm still
Okay.
producing every day. I just
Yeah.
haven't had it like any after a while of not getting any placements and not, just kind of feeling deflated. I was like, well, shit, I have these beats. I might as well start rapping on them. So I in the early days, I was only on SoundCloud, like 2015, 2014. And I was just
Oh,
dropping
okay.
freestyles and stuff on SoundCloud over these beats that I had produced. And the rapping kind of stuck. So I wouldn't say that like I haven't given up on the producing. It's still like a big part of my creative process and what I do. Um,
You've just shifted
and
focus
yeah, and
a little
moving
bit.
forward, I would expect it to, also be a significant part of who I am. Um, but yeah, it was really like when I dropped one of my songs. It was called Loose, and that one did like really well on Spotify. It got on some big playlists, and then it was on like the Canada Viral Top 50 chart or whatever.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so that song did really well, and I was like, okay, well, if it's resonating with people, just head down and focus on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And you've been actually rapping for a hot little minute, actually, like
Too long.
since 2015.
10,000 hours, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I joke about the fact that you can't be washed up if you haven't popped off yet. So
That is
I'm still
very
out here.
true.
I'm still out
Yeah.
here. But I mean, you know what? It's been, yeah, it's been progress, and it's like been slow growth over time. But you know,
Mhm.
every year my streams have gone up. I've built more of a fan base, um, and like I've seen results. So I mean, I'm passionate about it. It's what I want to do, and I'm confident that over the next 6 to 8 months, hopefully I can come back and share this interview.
Yeah,
But I'm confident that over the next 6 to 8 months that I'll be making some serious progress just based on the work that I've put in already, you know?
cool. Okay. That kind of leads me to another question. What has it been for you, or what has it been like for you trying to break into the world of rap? Like, how has that process been for you? What what is it like on your end?
I mean, honestly, it's just been very natural to me, you know? Like it's just I was always the guy like at the party that was freestyling in someone's ear. And just like shut the fuck up, you know? Like I've always been that person that's like writing. I write most of my like punchlines or metaphors that I come up with just start off as like notes in my phone, you know?
Oh,
When
interesting.
you're saying like breaking into breaking into rap, what's that been like? I mean, it's tough.
Like, what
We
are some of the struggles that you've faced, if any?
right. I mean, honestly, the no struggles with anyone as much as the struggles just like with myself and trying to figure out,
Mm,
hey, is this the right song? Like, do I want to put this out? Do I want to be saying this? You know, what audience am I trying to appeal to with this record? And a lot of the time, it's just like you're getting too caught up in your own head. And I've
yeah.
realized that some of the songs that I didn't even like that much that I just put out there are the ones that you know found their way into a group of people that really enjoyed it. So
That has been such a consistent theme amongst most artists that I speak to. It's
mhm,
like the song that they liked the least, or the song that they felt would resonate the least with people, has actually resonated the most. Like, it's been the
yeah,
song that has, like, I guess, popped off for them. That's
right.
so that's so interesting that it's like a consistent thing
Yeah, I
amongst
mean,
artists.
it does. I mean, with that being said, you know, there are the records that I have and that I've been sitting on, or ones that I do put out, and I'm like, yeah, I know this shit's gonna hit. You know, like I just like I test a lot of my records like in the room. Like I just see, like I don't tell anyone it's me or whatnot. If I'm somewhere, I'll just put it on and
That's
kind of just
smart.
like try to just gauge the
Gauge
room,
how they're feeling.
of people
Yeah.
feeling this or not. So that usually gives me like a general indicator. But at the end of the day, I think it's just about trying to put out music that is unique and is different. And that's a lot like that's an issue with when it comes to breaking through, right? It's like,
Mhm.
you know,
Everybody kinda.
I get grouped into like a category of rapper, obviously. And then from there, people are like, okay, well, do you have anything that's more like Jack Harlow? Or like, do you have anything that's like more like this? You know, like when I've been in talks with like certain people and I'm like, well, what's the point of that? Like that person already exists, you know?
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, at the end of the day, like it's just about for me, the biggest struggle that I have is just not getting caught up in my own head and just putting the music out. Because a lot of the time, like I'll
Mm.
record a song in a day, finish it, it's done. I love it. A week later, I'm still listening to it, and I'm like, no, this isn't it, you know. So
Yeah.
and like
Okay.
that's one of the luxuries that we don't have as like independent artists is just when it comes to rollout and like having things prepared ahead of time and I have to deliver my songs to Spotify like 6 weeks in advance, you know, and
Oh, wow.
that's just like a general framework. If you really want like time for the editorial teams to look at things, you might even be at 8 weeks. So
Wow.
in those 8 weeks, a lot can happen in your head too. That
Mhm.
can kind of like just mess up
Mm,
your energy for when you drop a record. But over time, I've like learned to put that shit behind me and just drop it. You know.
yeah. Man, I can't even. I'm not on that end of it, so I don't even understand that, like, struggle. I'm sure it's just like, oh, you can really mess yourself up with that. Like, you psych yourself out and
For sure.
end up not putting stuff out because you're just because of that fear. Like, you have to let go of that fear and just,
Absolutely.
go with it. Just let it drop. What song have you made that you've been the most proud of?
Hmm. That's a hard question. I mean, that I'm most proud of, that's like probably the most personal and like meaningful to me, will probably be one of my songs called Roses. It was like one of my first songs that I dropped on streaming. It's just like it's just some real shit about my life and things that happen around me. Um and I think like my whole friend circle, like when I dropped that one, they were like, oh, okay, like Jordan's rapping now. You know? It was like one of those moments where everyone was like, all right, yeah, this like I get it. Like they kind of bought into just my whole brand and what I was trying to accomplish. And yeah, I mean it's not the most commercial thing. Aside from that one, like I'd say probably this new one I just dropped 2 cents. I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was gonna ask you about that. It's pretty deep. So are you okay with like explaining the meaning of the song, the background, like
yeah, I mean I'll just give
what
you a general overview. Like really it was just I was just in a mood one day and I was like, you know what? Fuck all your 2 cents. Like, I'm not interested because I feel like especially in rap, it's like you have to be unapologetic when it comes to your music, you know?
Yeah.
I grew up listening like another one of my biggest influences was like Eminem, the Slim Shady days, like his whole alter
Mhm.
ego that was just like fuck everything, you know?
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I was feeling on the record. And I feel like a lot of the time people, especially when like talking to me about my music or just in general, just things that happen, people are they dance around the point and they never really get to what they're trying to say. So
Mhm.
I feel like with that song, I was just kind of
Straightforward.
just getting some shit off my chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually really like it.
Thank
Are
you. I just
you
shot a video for it
I
on
was just about to ask you.
yeah, yeah, I just
Yeah,
shot a
so
video for it. It's being edited right now. I just saw like the first cut of it. Um
what is there a theme or a concept for the video? Like how can you kind of like explain it? And
yeah, this one
did
I mean
you
most of my videos that I have shot have had like a treatment that I've been behind a lot of the time. So I try to be as hands-on as possible. Obviously I've worked with some great directors, but for the most part, like the general themes and the way they go, I've come up with. Um,
Mm,
but like with this one, it's a budget thing. Like people don't realize it's expensive to shoot a music video. And it's
yeah.
like if you really want to do something right that has a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of people involved. Labor isn't cheap. Like you got to buy lunches and
Mhm.
shit, especially if you're working with people that are professional and do this for a living. Like
Yeah.
there's an expectation level that has to be met by everyone on set. So I've done a couple of those videos and it's great. Like I wish I could do everyone like that. But for this one, the director is actually someone that I had worked with outside of music in the past, and he's a talented videographer, and he was like, let me shoot it. Like, give me a chance. Like, I've never done a music video before, so I'm
Nice.
always like, I actually really like working with people like that because I feel like they put in the sweat equity to just try to make it as good as possible. Um,
Yeah.
and it's not like they're working with 100 other projects at once. And so,
Mhm.
I mean, moving forwards, yeah, I do have a lot of videos and a lot of concepts that I still want to shoot and see, like bring them to life, but it's a money thing. And
Yeah.
a big part of it is like you can go and shoot a music video for 5 grand or whatnot, and then how are you how are you marketing it?
Yeah.
Like you better have another 5 grand, if not more, to market that video because
Yeah.
it doesn't like I shot a video gross. And sorry, am I going off topic here? Is
No, you're fine.
okay,
Go
cool. Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
I shot this video gross. It was a song I did with a good friend of mine now that kind of came out from the song. His name's Block of the Dawn. It was like a really hard record. We did a video that was a Karate Kid theme, which was like one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. Um,
Really?
so
Oof.
it was.
Okay.
No, you don't like
I'm
that?
judging you. Oh God. Okay.
Why?
I don't like my mom literally made me watch it, and I wasn't, and I watched it recently.
Right.
It just wasn't for me. I don't get the
Yeah,
hype. I
fair.
mean,
To each his own. Anyways, it was always like maybe it was just the fact that it was like just one of the 5 like VCRs that we had.
oh, okay.
Like how like you have now you got access to thousands of movies. Back then, if you're a kid and it's the summer, like there's 5
Yeah.
movies to choose from. So
Yeah.
long story short, it was a sick video. I spent like quite a bit of money on it, and I just didn't have the ad dollars to put into it after. So like it didn't
Mhm.
perform as well as a video that like I shot for a song called One for Me. Shot the whole thing on an iPhone.
Mhm. Wow.
Yeah, the whole thing on an iPhone on a $200 Amazon like gimbal, and then I sent it to an editor to edit it. So in
Yeah.
total, like it cost me next to nothing. Then I could spend all of my ad dollars, just like focus on the marketing, and it
Yeah.
it did 5 times the amount of streams and views that gross did. So
Yeah.
it's
Is
a
it
lot.
ever
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I was
Sorry.
gonna say, is it ever like overwhelming, or does it ever get hard trying to manage all of it on your own? Like, do you ever consider like I don't want to say hiring a whole team, because like not a whole team, but like
I
you know
mean,
what
of
I mean?
course, eventually, I mean, it's like any other company, I think, you know, and at a certain point, you have to expand, and you have to
Hmm.
be willing to give up a portion of what you're doing to someone else because at the end of the day, like they're going to help you. And I rather have
Yeah.
50% of a much larger pie than
Yeah.
100% of a smaller pie. And this is like the classic argument that a lot of artists make. I'm glad that you brought it up. I'm not like against signing to a label. I'm not against
Hmm.
any of that shit, but I'm against signing the wrong deal with the label.
Hmm.
I think a lot of it and what people don't understand is like you have to have bargaining power.
Yeah.
You have to have something that can't be replicated by someone else.
Hmm.
They're not just investing in a single that's like the next TikTok trend or whatnot, so they can capitalize on it for that moment and then forget about you.
Hmm.
Like if you could find a good partnership and people that are willing to put up a significant amount of money, then yeah, like you have to be willing to give up certain things to get it done, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but so far, like I distribute my music through AWOL, um, so they're my distributor, but it's not. I mean, I'm not signed to any record label. They just
Hmm.
strictly take care of streaming stuff, So getting music on Apple, Spotify, all the DSPs, and
Yeah.
collecting those royalties. So that's kind of just what I've been up to. But
Wow.
I mean, I'm eventually, yeah, like I would
Yeah.
like to sign some sort of deal, but if it's publishing or what it is, that depends.
Yeah. At what point do you think you would be like, okay, like, yeah, I made it. I have achieved the success that I want to? Or like,
That's a hard question.
also, I guess on the other side of that same coin, at what point do you think you'll be able to build up a team of people to help you with what you're doing?
Right. I mean, I don't think I'll ever get to a point where I'm like, I've made it. I think in anything that I do, but I've always just been an entrepreneur in that regard. So it's like, yeah, at a certain point, when I'm old and gray, like I'll kick back with a fat cigar and a bourbon and say like, enough's enough. I
Yeah.
definitely, I'm not saying I'm going to work. I'm going to be rapping when I'm 80. Like, no, that's not happening, and I think that as an artist, as someone in rap, it's like, if you want longevity, you have to actually have good music. You can't just
Mhm.
look on a viral moment or one song and like you look at the guys like Drake, like there's a reason why he's been around for over a decade,
Yeah.
you know? And but that's super rare. That's super rare. So like if you can get in this game and get like a good 3 to 5 years out of it, wonderful. And I'm not saying that after that period of time, like I'm going to stop necessarily doing music or stop rapping. I mean, it's that got to see what happens then. But for now, no, for now, I think that my focus would be on building that team up and developing it. It's just I need one record to like really pop, to really break, especially in the US, something that can cross our border and put me on over there. And I mean, I think that we've seen it happen a lot with, like like academics and a lot of blogs in the UK and in the US that are now paying a lot closer attention to Toronto artists. So I think that the timing is good, and I'm happy that it's happening here, because we do have a lot of talent in Canada, and we do have a lot of talent in Toronto. I mean, every guy you meet in Toronto is a rapper now.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Like they'll do something, but then they also rap, So.
Wow. I've only been to Toronto once, and I was a kid, and so I was completely, I don't think
Where
rap
are you located?
was.
Are you in Chicago?
No, I'm in Atlanta.
Okay, you're in Atlanta. Okay, because I was looking on the Instagram profile, it says Chicago.
Yeah, it's based in Chicago.
Gotcha.
That's like the headquarters, I guess you can say.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm here.
Thanks. I've been to Atlanta once. It was a great time.
Yeah. It's fun. Music scene, creative scene here is really, really cool.
Yeah.
With some really cool, super talented people. So yeah, if you get into the right like crowd or get into the right thing, you'll really,
For sure.
I have one last question for you, and it's kind of to piggyback off of what you were saying. What song, if you could pick any of your songs to pop off, which song would you pick? Which one would you rather have?
You know what? I got one that isn't out yet, but it's called Pinata. And
why that one?
It's got the right bounce, but and the right subject matter, the right hook, but it's still hard bars, like it's not it's not just like it's very, I hate using the term viral, but like I think it has the ability to reach broad audiences. And it has the right bounce to it. It's produced by a producer, and his name's the Count Cole. He's really sick.
Cool.
Yeah, you might have even seen his like videos on TikTok and stuff. He does like these beat making videos with crazy percussion instruments and stuff. But if I were to have to pick one right now that like I would want to pop off, that I think I would be like the most comfortable and happy performing. Yeah, I mean, shit, why not 2 Cents? Like I just dropped it, so go run that up. Yeah, if you're watching this right now, go run it up and let me know what you think. Drop a comment on the YouTube. When's this coming out? Because I think the video I'll probably have done in the next day or two, hopefully.
Oh, cool. Okay. There's a whole schedule, but I'll get into it after.
No worries.
I'm gonna wrap this. No, you're good. Thanks for doing this. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. For everyone that's watching, go follow Wise. It's Wise_beats, right?
Yeah, Wise_beats on pretty much everything. And then on Spotify, Apple, all the streaming sites, it's just Wise. WYSE.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this again. And for everyone watching, make sure you follow Swagger RS for the latest in music, fashion, and creative culture.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Time Out, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and share the podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, be sure to follow us at Swagger RS on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.